Hello, folks. This is Joe from MIGeekScene. I'm at Youmacon with Todd Haberkorn, voice actor extraordinaire. He's known, he's known from a lot of roles, but Natsu from Fairy Tail and Ling from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is a show that I own and thoroughly enjoy. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. It's a busy schedule, and so just trying to balance it all and make it all work.
All right, well, I generally ask, I start off with this question for voice actors. What was your first exposure to anime? Not as an actor, but just as a regular person.
I would say that my first memorable exposure, I didn't know Voltron was anime. I didn't know that. So I think that technically is my first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now enough about the anime questions for the time being. We'll go into the other things that you've delved into. You wrote a short film called Green-Eyed Clown where you played, wasn't it Pogo?
I was wow, good call there. Yeah, I did my very first short that I produced. It was called Green-Eyed Clown years ago, and I just wanted to do something that took the hero's journey format that you find a lot in films and just turn it on its head a little bit. And that was a long time ago we worked on that, and that was where I learned don't write characters that have extensive makeup.
I mean, was that your complete vision after it was all
Yeah,
filmed?
it was because I had been producing and directing in other capacities for projects, but not building something completely from the ground up. And I did that as kind of like a learning exercise also. And to work with people that I like to work with and see the dynamics of me working with other folks in a filmmaking light. And then the people that I worked with from there, a lot of those people I still work with today. So with the projects that I produce independently are oftentimes things where I'm wanting to kind of bring a vision from my brain to fruition, but also find people that I like working with so we can go and create more stuff.
Speaking of creating stuff, you did a video tribute feud with Vic Mignona. Where did that start? And
It started.
who won?
I won, but we started off up in upstate New York. We were working on a project, and Vic and I were hanging out in a hotel, and he goes, "You know what? He just offhandedly was like, I'm gonna make a tribute video to you." And then while he was making it, I was like, "I'm not gonna let you get away with that." And I was making one at the same time on my laptop. So he uploaded his first, and then I uploaded mine. And then some fans they saw it, and then it just became this one-upping thing. And then I made the final video.
Ooh.
And so it's
now?
I don't know. They just kept getting bigger and bigger. So the first video started off at a minute long. The next one was 3.5 minutes. The next one was 9 minutes. The next one was, 45 minutes.
Oh, I saw your CSI video.
Yeah, then there was one more beyond that. And that one is only available on my live concert DVD.
Oh, okay, because I was looking for that online and I could not find that.
It's something that I give to the folks that if you go to thehabertat.com, I have the Haberdashery is my store on there, and it's got a live concert DVD, and that's one of the extra features on it.
I will have to say I was sad that I couldn't afford the 3 easy payments of $89.95 for your action figure.
Yes, with the tiger. Vic did a good job on that one. That was good.
That was a hilarious commercial. You're also now Spock in Star Trek Continues. Has that been like a dream come true for you?
It was a really nice challenge as an actor, and it's fun to take on a role like that. It's something where, in terms of, because obviously it is an iconic role. I mean, it's a pop culture phenomenon, that show. I mean, it's been around. This is its 50th anniversary. But when I'm working on the show, I don't think about that. I try to just focus on the story and the character, and all the other stuff comes later. And so I hope I'm honoring the series and the franchise by doing what I do with it, and people seem to like it.
All right. And also, you recently put out an album called Can You Hear Me Now?
Yeah.
Do you care to talk about it?
It was the first album that I did. I'm supposed to be working on the second one. Got to find the time. I had written those songs just for myself, just to write songs. I was in college and I was learning guitar and teaching myself guitar. And then Johnny Bosch heard me play a couple of live concerts at some cons, and he's like, "Do you have an album or whatever?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "You should totally put your songs together and make an album." He goes, "In fact, I'll help produce it." And so he actually was the reason that album came to be. Had he not done that, I would have never done it, because those songs were just for me. And so then when they came out and they're for the public, it's kind of a different feel.
Or what were the lyrical themes and inspirations for the songs?
It's just from different milestones in my life, girls that I had relationships with that really meant something poignant to me and taught me things in life. And my son was inspiration for some of the songs. They were all very personal things, and each song is a fun journey for me of kind of exploring that particular flash in life. And so what's tricky about this next album coming up is that I know from the beginning it's going to be meant to be heard by the public. And so it kind of changes how I approach the songwriting process and working on the style of the music. So it's something that I'm taking into consideration for this next one, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, who were your musical influences?
Well, when I was learning guitar, I really focused on really great guitar players, like just technically good guitar players. You feel like Eric Clapton, John Mayer, Dave Matthews. You know, Hendrix is on a totally different level, and he's a different style of guitars than I would ever know how to do. But I focus on a lot of good technically sound and proficient acoustic guitar players. So for this next album, I want it to be all electric guitar. So okay. I've not done an album that way or done songs that way, so it's going to be a nice learning curve for me, too.
You're not going to do sweeping arpeggios and whatnot, like Yngwie Malmsteen.
We'll see what the producer says, but I don't plan on it. Yeah,
Haberkorn shreds.
That's right.
Actually, I would totally buy that album.
Well, you know what? I hope I get it done soon.
Favorite U2 album or song?
Well, I saw their 360 tour.
Okay.
And that was awesome. So I wish that was out on. It's out on DVD, but not out on an album form. I would totally get that. But their best album to me was their second to last one. So not the one that came on everybody's iPhone, but the one right before that was a really nice album. I thought it still had their influence, but it totally kind of changed their dynamic, I felt, and gave you something that you don't usually hear from them.
Well, you were mentioning that you were at the 360 tour. Wasn't that during when Bono had Mephisto as his alter ego?
You know what? We didn't see it. He didn't come out when he did the show for us, but that might have been around the same time. But he didn't. It was just Bono.
I mean, obviously, as a musician, have you had any Spinal Tap moments while you've been performing on stage?
Oh, absolutely. I one of the worst moments I've ever had while I was on stage was early on when I would perform in clubs and stuff like that. Very, very early on. No one taught me the etiquette of being in the club. No one said, remember to have this, remember to bring extra this or bring this. I just started doing it. They hired me and I started going. So I learned always bring extra strings. Always. You would think that's common knowledge, but when you're a kid, you're playing in clubs and stuff. You're just like happy to be able to save up enough to get the gear. And so when I'm playing a gig, all these people came in from out of town, drove far away. I'm into I want to say my second or third song of the set. This is a long set, and I'm only in song 2 or 3 when my strings breaks. And I was like, well, thank you. That's it. That was one of the worst.
Please don't tell me this was the very first show.
It was like the second show.
Oh, okay. At least you got your debut out. And
debut out, second show. But no one teaches. Everyone just assumes you just know that stuff. But really, when you're on your own and you're just a kid playing in a club or whatever, you look at what other people do. You're like, okay, they've got a mic, they've got an instrument, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get that and that and that. That's why when people say, I want to be a voice actor, and I go, what do I do? And then they just go off and do it. And then you start to find out, oh, you need to bring more strings. Oh, you need to bring, you slowly discover that through experience and stuff.
Oh, believe me.
Yeah.
Always bring backup batteries. Because my external flash one time lost its juice, and I was supposed to be at an after party, and I was thinking to myself, I am hating my life right now at this very moment. So I was using the on-camera flash. I was just blasting them straight forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will never do this again.
See, you learned all the things you need to bring. You bring your extra strings.
Yes. Or I can be cheap like Eddie Van Halen and boil them, if that was the case.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he used to do back in the day. I used to play a little bit of guitar, but didn't really have the practice ethic for it.
You boil them and then they...
You could use them again.
Really?
Yeah. After they start losing tonality and whatnot, you can boil them for a bit, and then you can use them again, just to hold you over.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Look it up.
Good to know.
Google it.
Yeah.
Have you had a favorite concert that you've been to?
Favorite concert, I would say, I have to say, when I went to the Elton John concert, that was a good show. It was really, really, just because like I grew up listening to all sorts of music, but I remember hearing his songs and I was like, wow, he's a really good songwriter and composer. But it was, the only thing is his show was so loud. It was so, you wouldn't think it would be loud. I mean, I had to go out into the lobby and listen for some of it because it's so loud, but it was a great show.
Hey folks, it's Joe from MIGeekScene. You might be wondering, how come you stopped that sweet interview with Todd Haberkorn? Well, the next guest had to come through and I didn't really want them moving around in the background, so I paused the interview briefly and then this happened.
Please tell me you're going to be doing my interview.
I'm going to let the maestro handle that.
My favorite.
I'm in.
Hey dude, good to see you.
You might be wondering, who is that Todd Haberkorn just hugged off screen? Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Or should I?
Well, actually, we're in the middle of recording right now, so.
I'm finishing up. Come on in. This is the man.
This is the man. It's the man calling the man the man. Finish up.
That's right. Yuri Lowenthal, a.k.a. Sasuke from Naruto, a.k.a. Ben 10, a.k.a. he's been in a lot of stuff, so just look him up online. Really cool dude. So, spoilers for next person that's going to be out on an interview. So, I was about to go back into the interview with Todd, and then all of a sudden this happened, and it was totally unexpected.
Can I just also say that this guy right here, I'm not kidding, the best interview of 2016. Because when I walked in, you won't see, I don't know if you're going to see this part. When I walked in, I told him, I go, here, we'll make a pact. We'll do this interview if you ask me questions I've never been asked before. And he goes, okay, these are the questions I'm not going to ask you. And he went, bah, bah, bah. And he hit all the ones that you always get asked. And he goes, I'm not asking you those questions.
Todd, thank you so much for the endorsement. I truly do appreciate it. I work hard to make these interviews as engaging and as fun as possible, so I really appreciate your kind endorsement. Thank you so much. Now, with that being said, back to the interview, folks. All right, I saw a hilarious video of you on Hot Pepper Gaming where you suffered through a Call of Duty game. Would you be back, or is it Modern Warfare? I think
It was Black Ops 3, yeah.
Black Ops 3, sorry. First-person shooter game.
Yeah.
Will you be back on Hot Pepper Gaming?
He's asked me a couple times, but he said that if you come back, it's got to be Ghost Pepper or higher. And I told him, I said, man, I really loved coming on because I'm a fan of Hot Pepper Gaming. But I told him I will not. I will watch. I won't do it. But I don't. When you get away from it, you think you could do it again. But then I just watch a minute of one video, and then I'm like, nope, that was a good call. So I remember the pain, and I just have to think back on it whenever I think about writing him an email saying like, hey, let me come in and eat a pepper again.
Oh, hey, here's a nice Carolina Reaper.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. He had that.
Oh, dude,
available,
that's insane because you would be hospitalized. I don't think you would be able to finish the game no matter how much milk was pumped into your system.
Yeah, I know.
You would have to have an IV of milk just going into you.
Yeah, and I don't like needles all the time.
No, it's a random question because I was checking while doing research on you. I saw that you featured a Jiminy Glick interview. Do you have any favorite ones by him? Because when I saw that, I was like, I have not thought of Jiminy Glick in so long.
How's that going for you? I really liked him when he did the most recent Seinfeld one.
Okay.
That was so good, actually. And like from his golden years, when he did Jeff Goldblum, that was pretty good.
I really enjoyed the recent one that he was interviewing Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
and
that was good.
And he just introduced him as Steve Carell. And
Yeah.
like Ricky's just losing it throughout this entire thing. And I forgot who it was that he was interviewing, and the person said a funny joke, and then he proceeded to go for an uncomfortably long time. And I was like, my goodness, just even be able to have an interview with him would be fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But no, that's not the route that I'm going to be taking. I'm not going to be like, so Todd Haberkorn, can you please tell me about your next role?
Yeah, he's great.
Well, we're going to segue a little bit back into anime. I know that you have a Fairy Tail tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, is Fairy Tail the only show that you're going to, that you only have a tattoo on, or is there going to be another show that would warrant a tattoo?
No more tattoos for shows. I did promise to get something pierced for D. Gray Man because I thought for sure we'd never get that show back.
Okay.
It had been 8 years. Who revisits a show after 8 years? In the anime world, never happened. Has never happened before that I've been involved with, the show I've been involved with.
I was going to say there was Berserk.
But
that's
wasn't
not
involved. Yeah,
of course you weren't involved with that, but
And so, yeah, some piercings have got to happen soon.
ooh.
Yeah.
All right, as we're wrapping this up, what's new that you can talk about?
Ooh, what's new? I'm the narrator for all the audiobooks from the Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I have seen that too.
Ghost Hunter folks, and so there's some new ones have just come out. They're available everywhere you get digital audiobooks. I have a new show coming out with Geek and Sundry on the 18th of this month called Talking Heads. It is an anime-centric show that will be debuting.
It's not about the band.
And not this episode. And so we'll be doing that show. That'll be weekly,
Same as
Fridays
it ever
at
was.
8 o'clock. Same as it ever was. So we're doing that at 8 o'clock every Friday. And then I've got all sorts of upcoming appearances and then other shows that I don't think we can talk about. Dragon Ball Z Super.
That was just announced.
That's coming out. So, yeah, lots of stuff.
All right, and if people wanted to find out more about you online, where could they go?
Well, I love Twitter. So we've got at Todd Haberkorn, and then we've got on Instagram at Haberographer. And then you got to go to thehabitat.com.
And don't forget the haberdashery.
The haberdashery on thehabitat.com. Absolutely.
Final question, what would you like to say to your fans throughout the years?
Gosh, well, they know, because when I see them at cons, I tell them, and I gush all the time about them. So they've got big heads already. So they don't need to hear from me. But see you guys online.
All right. Well, folks, this is Joe from MIGeekScene with Todd Haberkorn at Youmacon 2016. Take it easy.
See ya.